Today's video is going to be all about milk kefir. Here in America we say kefir. I know it's technically pronounced kefir, but kefir, my children call it white kefir. We're going to talk all about it today because when I first started hearing about kefir 6 years ago, when we first started drinking raw milk, I got some kefir grains and I made it, but then I just really didn't know how to use it until about a year and a half ago. I'm gonna tell you all the ways we use it now, all the benefits of it, 3 different recipes that I use multiple times a week in my family on how we eat kefir. And these aren't like anything fancy. This is just simple, easy ways to get kefir into your family's body because it is just so beneficial for gut health, for digestion, for overall health and wellness. It's just amazing. This one will change your life. So stay tuned for all things milk kefir. I'm going to show you how to strain it, how to start a new batch, how to use it in your kitchen, and I hope if you haven't already tried milk kefir in your own kitchen that you will. Milk kefir is a powerful probiotic. It helps in gut health. It can help with constipation, diarrhea, diabetes, any of the common gut problems can be healed and helped with kefir. I've heard wonderful things about goat's milk kefir. We are just getting into sheep, so I look forward to trying sheep milk kefir. Right now we just have cow's milk because that's what we have, but actually you don't even have to have raw milk. You can use store-bought milk and still get some very high benefits of kefir, of drinking and consuming milk kefir. It's just a fermented milk and it's so simple. You're just going to take the kefir grains that you purchase or get from a friend and pour milk on top and leave it sitting on your counter just like that. This one is at about 20 hours ferment, so we're going to strain it in a minute. I'm going to show you what it looks like, but I also have one in the fridge that fermented for about 38, almost 40 hours, and you'll see the difference in the thicknesses just depending on the amount of thickness you like. It is very high in nutrients. It can contain up to 60 unique strands of bacteria and yeast just from your home, plus high amounts of protein, phosphorus, and vitamin B12. So it's just packed with probiotics and minerals that are so beneficial. And you wouldn't think, and I mean, when we first started making this, my husband was like, why do you have milk sitting out on the counter? He was just like floored that I was just letting milk sit out like this. But it was back when I was learning all about cultures and ferments and how they work and how beneficial they really are for our bodies. Not too long ago, we did not have refrigeration, and this is how people preserved their milk, through kefirs and yogurts and clabbers, things like that. So this is not anything new. It just feels new to us because we didn't grow up doing all of this because it was kind of lost in past generations. So hopefully today I can convince you to start trying milk kefir in your own kitchen. If you are lactose intolerant, you have trouble, your body has trouble breaking down lactose, there probably is a reason for that, because a lot of times it's because we're drinking improperly prepared milk from unhealthy cows. But nonetheless, if you, a lot of times people that have lactose problems can drink raw milk because of the way that your body breaks it down differently and how the good bacteria is still present in raw milk. But nonetheless, if you do have trouble with lactose, kefir is possibly something you can consume because the kefir grains in there are going to break down and consume a lot of that lactose before you actually consume the kefir, which is why it's going to taste more sour and then it's like a sweet creamy milk flavor. We love the flavor now. It does take some accustoming to get used to, and I'll show you a way to, in a minute, I'm going to show you a way to gradually get your family to start drinking it before you just drink it straight like this. After we strain it, we're not going to be drinking the little grains, but it's super simple. It's just a staple in our kitchen. I do cook with it some. I just did a video recently where I showed you how I make our freshly milled biscuits with kefir. You could also use buttermilk or clabber, but it is a great substitute for buttermilk. Though if you're cooking with it, you're going to lose some of the beneficial bacteria that is alive and bubbling in the kefir grains. So let's get to straining this, and I'll show you the difference in a 20-ish hour kefir ferment and one that I did yesterday that fermented about, like I said, 38 hours, close to 40 hours, something like that. It's super simple. I'm just going to pour this over a strainer into a bowl, stir it, and that's the kefir. Some people say not to use metal. I've never followed that rule, and I've never had any problems with my kefir grains. You can see it's really starting to thicken, if you can see that. Like kind of thick. Those are the grains on top. This has a lot of grains in here. Kefir grains multiply very rapidly, and you either have to make multiple batches of kefir, give it away, give it to your chickens. You can mix it up in a smoothie and just blend it in and consume it that way. But you'll see those chunks on top are the grains. Okay, this one is not very thick yet because I did not let this ferment as long, but I'm going to show you a batch in a minute in the fridge that was fermented for almost double this time. So if you're just starting out, you might want to do a lesser ferment because it's not going to be as sour and as tangy. So something like this, just about a 24 hour ferment. So all I'm doing is stirring the kefir out, like straining it through, and then what's left are going to be these little, they're kind of like little gummy bears, gummy consistency, the kefir grains. When I originally started kefir, I did buy some grains online. They came shipped to me. I think I got them from Amazon. I'll try to link that below. But what's even easier is just if you know somebody that has kefir in their kitchen, they can give you some. So that original batch that I started 6 years ago, I kind of let die because like I told you, I really didn't know what to do with kefir. I was trying to make like salad dressings with it, which was good. And I was trying to make like yogurt bowls with it, which was good. But I never had like a routine of consuming it daily. And I'd make smoothies with it. But now we have this routine where it's in our fridge at all times and we consume it daily. Okay, so here are I have quite a few of them. Here are the grains. They look like this. These aren't perfectly rinsed, but I'll show it to y'all. So they're like little gummy globules. This is what grows and ferments your milk. Okay, so like I told y'all, this is a pretty thin one. So this is one that, like I said, I would recommend someone to start drinking that is not used to drinking kefir already. So let's put this here. So this almost just looks like milk. It's not that thick, which is good if you're getting started. So let me pour this into a jar and I'll show you the difference in this one and the one from yesterday. Okay, so here's the one that's been sitting in the fridge that I strained yesterday. It's a lot thicker. Okay, so I'll try to show y'all. This is the one that I'm about to drop that we just strained that fermented on my counter about 20 hours. 24 hours is a good start if you are just getting started. So it's still pretty runny. It's nothing thick like yogurt or anything. But what we actually prefer in our home now, because we've all become pretty accustomed to kefir. My two older children are not as accustomed, but I started them out a lot different on how you see how much thicker. It's almost the consistency of a yogurt. This is how we actually love kefir. So you can play around with your ferment time and see what you like best. As you get more accustomed, you can do longer ferments. It's spring right now and things are fermenting a lot faster. If you're familiar with sourdough or any type of ferment, sauerkraut, things ferment a lot faster in the summer than the winter. In the winter, I can leave the kefir out for like 4 days and it takes quite a while to get it nice and thick. But so you can see the difference in the two. The 36, 38, 40 hour fermented kefir and the 20 to 24. 4 of our people in our family will just drink it just like this. I keep a pour spout on it. Here's the empty one in the fridge. It's not the cleanest looking jar because it does have all that thickness, so it kind of clings to the edges. So we at all times keep kefir in the fridge just like this. Nothing in it, but when I first started my family just drinking this, because I wanted this to be just like a staple that we just went to drink for, like, instead of reaching for the milk, we reached for the kefir. 2 of my children will reach for it. 2 of my children prefer to have it sweetened with a little bit of honey, or like I'm going to show you right here. But they are the ones that I started on a different type of diet, and I talked about this before. The way you start your children on the way you start feeding your children as babies really affects their taste buds as continues so they get older. Now you could definitely adjust them to it, but it would take some time. So this is how most of the time we just drink it, just fermented 30 plus hours, nothing in it. But if you're just getting started with kefir, this is how I'd recommend starting. With a little bit of syrup and vanilla. So I went to a fermentation class about a year ago, and the lady that taught it was teaching us about sauerkraut and some of the things I already knew, beet kvass, kefir. I had already known about kefir, but she showed me this way that she drinks it regularly, and I absolutely loved it, and it was the perfect way to transition this into my family. We don't even do this anymore, but when we first started, this is how we flavored the kefir. I put a capful of vanilla and 1 to 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. She used like a stevia sweetener. I don't really prefer to use those in our home, so I use syrup. My children absolutely loved this when I first introduced it. My younger 2 children especially loved it. My older 2 would drink it. They wouldn't reach for it, but they don't reach for it plain. We're working on it, but I'll show you the way I get it, feed it to them in just a minute. So number 1 way we drink it, plain, 36-hour ferment. You work up to this. Next way, sweetened with a little bit of vanilla and 1 to 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. This adds a little bit of sweetness to cut down on the tang, and especially if you're new and you want to start out with like the 20 to 24-hour ferment. So it's more just like a little bit tangier milk. There's nothing super sour. It's not thick. If you're a textures person and you don't like the thickness of that the 30+ hours gives, definitely start with a smaller one. And my husband was the same way. He's not about like the thick milk, but he can drink this if he wants to. He's still just he still just prefers milk, but I can get milk kefir into him through smoothies and other ways. My children though have learned to drink it just straight out of the fridge. Next, I love to make a kefir split. My children think this is the funnest dessert, the funnest little snack. I have these little banana split bowls, but instead of ice cream, I'm just using really thick kefir that's almost like the consistency of a runnier yogurt. So I'll show y'all how to make that next. And then my personal favorite way to consume kefir is a matcha clove kefir bowl. This is just wonderful for gut health. Matcha helps reduce inflammation in the small intestine and encourages growth of good bacteria in the gut. So not only are you getting good beneficial bacteria from the kefir, but also from the matcha. Clove is wonderful at killing bad bacteria in the gut. Again, all of this is about gut health. If you're consuming kefir, you're probably thinking about your gut health and improving it, of feeling happier. Happier gut makes for a happier person. And clove is great at killing harmful bacteria in the gut. And then of course the kefir, we use that because it has gut beneficial bacteria too. These are super simple ways. It's almost like I didn't even need to make a video on this, but I wanted just a dedicated video to show y'all how to incorporate kefir into your home, because like me 6 years ago, I was making this really beneficial food, but I was not consuming it regularly. I was letting my grains sit in the back of the fridge and not continually feeding them because I didn't know how to use it in our home. Nobody just wanted to drink it straight because I didn't know how to flavor it properly and adjust our taste buds. But now that I have figured out how we like it, it's a staple in our home and we always have it on hand. It's so easy to keep going. It's like the easiest ferment ever. You just pour milk over these little grains and that's it. super simple. Now, if you're wanting to go like on a trip and you don't want to leave your kefir grains sitting out, obviously, because they'll overeat, and then you'll start to see a lot of separation between the kefir and the grains, and a lot of whey. And that at that point, I don't really enjoy the kefir because it's very, very, very sour and tangy, and then there's a lot of extra whey, and I really just like that thick, creamy kefir texture. You can just put it in the fridge. You could just put this straight into the fridge and let it slowly eat. It'll slow down the process of the kefir grains eating. If you want to just stop your kefir for a while, just take your extra grains, put them in just a little bit of milk, so they're not really eating, they're just kind of preserved. Put them in a little bit of milk, and then just put them in the back of your fridge. I wouldn't forget about them for months at a time. Maybe every month or so, pull them out, give them some fresh, put them in some fresh milk. Just a little bit of milk, you don't need a lot. You could easily just use a very small jar like this and fill all your kefir grains, and then just put a little bit of milk over it. So you're not really giving it enough to feed it, but just to kind of let it kind of stay dormant, and that will be fine. But I almost can imagine that if you start getting kefir into your family's diet and start consuming it regularly, you're going to love the benefits and continue making it, and just put it little pauses in your fridge, or if you're going out of town or something. The lady who taught me about the vanilla and the maple syrup flavored kefir, she said that there was a time when she stopped drinking kefir and was all of a sudden like a lot more down, not really depressed, but just a lot more down, and how much happier drinking kefir made her moods. And it's true, when our gut is happy, when our gut is taken care of, we are much happier, more regulated people, and we all need that. Especially in the society today with the burden of everything else going on, we need happy, healthy guts. And that's something I've really been working on the last year. If you followed my story of my explant surgery, there was a lot of gut healing that had to take place after that. Kefir was a staple in helping me rebuild and recreate that healthy microbiome in my gut. So I hope you all enjoyed these one's not really a recipe, 4 ways that we consume kefir in our home. You can also cook with it in place of buttermilk, like I said, but you're going to lose some beneficial bacteria. There are people that make salad dressings with it. I used to make salad dressings with it. At this point, I don't. I just don't. If I make a salad dressing, I'm going to use Greek yogurt or homemade mayonnaise, and just stick the kefir to drink, because I do like kind of a thicker dressing, unless I'm making like an oil-based dressing. But there are wonderful recipes for kefir-based salad dressing. So hope that I convinced you to start consuming milk kefir in your home. If you are local to me, or you maybe know my mom or something, and you're watching this video and you would like some kefir grains, I have plenty that I can share. So just reach out. I'll be glad to give anyone kefir grains that is local to me. Otherwise, you can purchase them on Amazon. I think there's some on Etsy, the people that sell their kefir grains, or just if you know someone, more than happy to give you just a little bit to get started. I have so many at this point that I just have to periodically give it to our chickens or mix it in with our smoothie. So I hope you enjoyed this video on all things milk kefir, fermented kefir, and are encouraged to try it out in your own kitchen.